Welcome to the Smash Blerd. Minisode's a Smash Bra where I enjoy a few adult beverages and discuss my favorite bits of useless knowledge, facts, random topics, and my shower thoughts. So sit back, enjoy a few with me, and let's talk blerdy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Smash Blerd, and I'm your host, Gamer Blerd. Again, these are shorter minisodes of Smash Bra with no beer review, but of course, I'll still enjoy some drinks and discuss all types of different topics. If you haven't checked yet, check out episode 5 of Smash Bra. We talked about the MCU TV series, and you can also find the first episode of the Smash Blerd, where I talk about Black NASA engineer Lonnie Johnson, who created one of the greatest toys of the 90s, the Super Soaker. You'll find them wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any episodes. Now, today, I'm sipping on a Frankenberry. Now, my wife is mad cute. On Valentine's Day, she actually made me like this little craft beer basket with 8 beers in them, and this was one of them. So today is National Beer Day, so I decided to go out. I grabbed a couple more of them, so you know your boy has to partake. But this should be a fun episode. Right now, it is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. There's lots of great content on Disney Plus. Obi-Wan is coming out soon, and there's some great video games on the way. Now, of course, it's implied in my name, Gamer Blerd. I'm a black nerd. But I will say when it comes to nerdom, video game nerd first, Marvel and DC nerd next, Harry Potter's thrown in there, and then I'll say I'm probably Star Wars. Now, I say this just because, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Star Wars, but there is just so much out there, and there's some stuff I just don't know between what's from canon and to what's now in the Legends universe. So usually what happens is I hear or see something, and the next thing you know, I'm down the rabbit hole, and I'm exploring these characters. And that is exactly what happened with the Book of Boba Fett. So today I'm going to be going over the Witches of Dathomir, Black Krrsantan, and then my reaction to the finale of the Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, spoilers inside. As much as I would love for you to listen to this episode, if you haven't watched yet, go and watch it, come back, and then we can spin. All right, now that I gave you a chance, first up is the Witches of Dathomir. So in chapter 3 of the Book of Boba Fett, Boba receives a peace offering from the twins as they're deciding to leave the planet. They don't want any of that smoke, so they're just going to up and leave. But one of the offerings that they provided is a Rancor, which I'm going to be honest, when I first saw that pit in the palace, it gave me fond memories of the famous scene in Return of the Jedi, where Luke battled the Jabba's Rancor. So just to see another Rancor was awesome in itself, but a little bit more on that later. So now, accompanied by the Rancor was a keeper played by the excellent Danny Trejo. He helps explain to Boba how to bond with his new pet and teaches them that although these creatures aren't cuddly, they're a lot more complex than their reputations let on. He says that there are even tales of the Witches of Dathomir riding these creatures. Now, it was this tiny little statement that sparked my interest, and off I went. Who are these witches? Now, once again, when I talk, I will fully admit I'm probably going to misspeak. I know there's some of you out there. I'm going to intertwine some stuff that's legends and canons. I just found out that was like a major change in Star Wars lore. So please don't at me. I apologize in advance, damn it. But basically, from what I learned, and I believe this is mostly legends, is around 600 before the Battle of Yavin, a Jedi Knight named Ayla arrived on the wilderness planet of Dathomir. Apparently, she was a rogue master that was exiled by the Jedi Council to meditate on the Force and enforce solitude. So now, who is Ayla? What does she do to get banished here? So Ayla was a Jedi that was seduced to the dark side. She wasn't quite a Sith, but she was a dark Jedi. The Jedi High Council chose to exile her to Dathomir as punishment, and they wanted her to reflect on her Jedi teachings, and hopefully she would come back to the light side. Instead, she used the Force to tame Rancors, created a matriarchal society where men had little to no power and taught all the women the Force, and they all became powerful badasses, which is just awesome. However, after all this, eventually Ayla saw the error in her ways, and on her deathbed, she wrote what was called the Book of Law. This had some teachings based on the Jedi Order, and basically she told them to never concede to evil, and this would hopefully protect her daughters for generation. Hence, this is why the Dathomir witches are often called the daughters of Ayla. I believe now in canon, there's no record of that, but I still like that backstory, so I'm going to go ahead and just put that out there. Now, apparently Dathomir was very rich in the Force, and the witches never knew that the magic that they used was actually the Force. Now, it seems that much of this was dark side Force energy, and this was kind of like the cave in Dagobah where Luke had to confront an apparition of Darth Vader. Now, this dark energy is part of what gives the witches their exceptional power. This also led them to learn the power of necromancy, where some clans would create armies of the dead. Now, while the females tend to be the most powerful, there are also males born. However, they tend to end up being turned into slaves. Now, what's interesting about this is there are significant differences between biological males and females. The females tend to be pale and lack horns, while the males are bright reds and yellows with cranial horns. Now, that might sound familiar to some other characters namely Darth Maul and Asajj Ventress. They are both Dathomirians, and I'll get a little bit more into them. And what's cool is they also have connections to Darth Sidious. Now, the witches of Dathomir broke up into many clans, and one of the most deadly clans was the Night Sisters. Now, although the Book of Law admonished them to never concede to evil, each clan made its own additions to the book, and the Night Sisters, they just fully embrace the dark side, and they call their book the Book of Shadows. Now, between canon and legends, there are some similarities and differences between the history of the Night Sisters. However, in both, one of the most powerful Night Sisters was Mother Talzin, and she worked a lot with Darth Sidious. Now, this is in legends, I believe. Talzin willingly gave up her son Darth Maul to Sidious because he was a Night Brother, and most likely he would become a slave, so she wanted to save him. But in canon, I believe Darth Sidious, who learned quote-unquote magic from Mother Talzin, and Darth Sidious also taught her the Force, promised Mother Talzin that she would eventually become his apprentice, as she was aware of the rule of two. But Darth Sidious is going to Darth Sidious, and he ended up finessing Talzin into giving up her child. He knew that he was very strong in the Force, and he essentially tortured him until his hatred allowed his dark side Force powers to grow, and ended up taking him on as his apprentice, unfortunately to Talzin's dismay. It was at this point that Talzin swore revenge on Sidious, and he became a bitter enemy. Talzin would almost get her revenge, but unfortunately she was eventually killed in a massacre. Now, the necromancy that I talked about earlier also probably relates to why Darth Sidious ended up having some sort of body at the end of the Star Wars movies, but I'm not going to get into that, but I thought that was kind of cool. Now, to get back into the characters, again, now clearly I know I need to watch way more Clone Wars. I only watched like some of the first season. I need to keep going, and I need to play Jedi Fallen Order. The witches are mentioned in both, but in the Clone Wars, from what I did watch, I was at least aware of Asajj Ventress. I always thought she was a really cool villain character, and now like she's even cooler that I know that she's a Dathomirian witch. What I liked about her is that, kind of like Maul, she was this very dangerous entity, but she seemed like very methodical in what she was doing. And she always seemed to give the work, even though she was often defeated by Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. I'm really, really hoping that she gets brought to live action like Cad Bane was, who was another villain that I liked in Clone Wars. I only saw parts of him just because of episodes that happened to be on, but I thought he was really cool, and I'll get into him a little bit as well. But just in general, I need to finish her journey in the Clone Wars just to see, how she fleshes out. But right now, I'd also like to get into my main Wookiee Black Krrsantan. Now, I had never heard of this character, and when he came into the scene with the Huts in episode 2, I was like, who is this motherfucker? So I read up a little on his backstory, and it's pretty much the coldest Wookiee backstory ever. He went from disgraced Wookiee to trained gladiator to feared bounty hunter, and I'm doing him injustice just with that little description. He is easily my favorite Wookiee this side of Kashyyyk. Now, I do admit, I do like Chewie. He was always kind of an underrated badass, but unfortunately, he was relegated to this like cheeky sidekick. Santi, on the other hand, immediately imposed like this fuck around and find out vibe. And he proved that right up to when he busted into Boba's palace and he started this one Wookiee ass whooping match. And it was him against Boba, Shan, and those stupid little scooter teens until they were finally able to trap it in the Rancor pit. Thankfully, Boba wasn't stupid. He was able to add him as an ally after BK saw the Hutts abandon him, but not before he went off and he ripped off some Trandoshan limbs first. And again, a little more on Santa later. Now, again, I guess this is where I give the obligatory spoiler warning. If you guys haven't left at this point, you haven't seen the finale, go and watch it and come back. I'll give a little pause. All right, let's talk about the finale episode. Now, to me, the Book of Boba Fett was a bit of a slow burn, I'll admit. It was around like episode 4 where things started like picking up, but honestly, I appreciated it. I don't mind like them fleshing out stories, but I also think it helped like get into the mind of Boba and seeing like he's trying to become DMO and he's trying to do things his way. And generally, I was very satisfied with the finale. And when I say this, I was legitimately like straight up fist pumping, talking to myself, most likely making my wife reconsider her life choices because this nerd's over in the other room. Like, first off, let's just talk about the little chainmail tunic for Grogu. Come on now. That was the cutest little thing ever. I loved how Djarin came in, tried to like bring him back, although fuck Luke, giving him the ultimatum. I'm glad Grogu knew what he wanted to do. And we'll come back to that a little bit. Now, we get into this like old Western betrayal of Boba Fett. He had reached out to all these families and had them promise that they like wouldn't fight against him. But of course, they go back on the war and they side with the Pikes. And just like chaos ensues. They start killing everybody. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the Gamorreans. But when they had my dude BK hemmed up, it was so heated. I'm like, come on, my guy can't go out like this. So anyways, like just when things are seeming the grimmest for Boba and his allies, Freetown citizens come in with the alley-oop and they help drive off a bunch of the Pikes. And again, my dude BK comes in with the pimp limp and he comes in and saves the day. Now, just when it looks like they're about to come home with the dub, these 2 huge shielded Scorpionek droids come in and they take it into overtime. Thankfully, after a little bit, Grogu comes in with Motto, which, by the way, also awesome character. And they help Djarin destroy one of the droids with the help of the sword. Now, then comes in my favorite part. Now, I should have seen it coming. I don't know why I didn't. But, like, Boba Fett leaves, right? And then all of a sudden you hear this roar. And Fett comes in riding in on this Rancor. Like, I legitimately audibly gasped. And Rancor just absolutely wrecks the second droid. Like, the sickest scene I've seen in a series in a really long time. Like, I loved it. So, unfortunately, Cad Bane comes in again. Awesome character. Like, I loved how they introduce him in here. He gets into it with Boba Fett. Boba Fett ends up killing Cad Bane. After a little bit, Grogu tames the Rancor, unfortunately, after he wrecks a bunch of shit in the city. And then Shan comes in, she kills all the crime lords, and all is good in Mos Espa. So, all in all, like I said, I really enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett, especially the finale. And the series helped me learn about these characters, the Witches of Dathomir and Black Krrsantan. So, I know the difference between canon and legends now. I didn't know that before. But like what's really cool and what I'm really enjoying is that it seems that they're taking some of this stuff that is now considered legends and they're trying to bring some of these characters into light and they're bringing them back into canon. So I'm really looking forward to where the series goes, with all the Disney shows that are coming out. And like Obi-Wan, I think it's going to be absolutely sick. I have a lot of theories. I'm waiting to see, if they pan out. Like I said, I really hope that they bringing us as Ventress. I think that would be awesome. So we'll see how it goes. But that's it. If you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe, follow, and those notifications so you can listen to the next episode that drops for the Smash Blerd, as well as Smash Bro, which episode 6 should be dropping soon as well. You can find me, Gamer Blerd, on Instagram at that8bitlife. That's at THAT, the number 8. BITLYFE. You can also find us on Smashed Bra, which is just at Smashed Bra, and that's SMASHDBRUH. And you can listen to us on your favorite podcast channels, as well as watch us on our YouTube channel. And until next time, stay blerdy, my friends.